of the Michigan Theater of Jackson, Steve Tucker. Hi, Steve.
Hi, Bart. Thanks for having me on again.
And Steve actually
it.
knows something about the FFA Agri-Science sale.
The person you had on the other day, Jennifer Smith, she's having a baby today. It's got to be today because Tony is the father of the baby, and he wrote me last night about 1:30 in the morning and said,
Tony from the Michigan Theater.
Tony from the Michigan Theater, Anthony, yeah.
He's going to be a dad.
Yep.
Oh my
gosh. Be a dad.
Well, I think when she was here, she said her due date was Friday, so
right.
That's, now.
So it all started, the action started at 1:30 this morning, so last I heard was she's still in labor, and not actively labor, but.
I think when they were on the show, I had a coughing attack, and I think that might have precipitated the labor.
It's your fault.
Sorry, Jennifer.
Yeah. By the end of the day, we'll know everything, and I'll definitely report to you. So we're excited for them.
Kids series coming back this summer.
Starting June 14th, we have 9 weeks of it this year.
Wow.
So
is that a record?
It used to be 8, sometimes 7, 8, depending on how summer fell. But this year we went with 9, and we have a couple sponsors, our longtime sponsors, because we had to get a few more sponsors this year with everything. Prices going up, not prices going up for the customer, mind you, but prices to us. We have the True Community Credit Union is glommed on board with as a sponsor, and of course our longtime sponsor. You know who they are.
The Kiwanis Club.
Always. Kiwanis Club is very, very, they're good to us and have been for years. So Pat Kiesling is still running that whole thing, and she's doing great. Looking forward to that. We have Juneteenth. We have an original play coming up, written by a local person. I think they're going to be on here soon. It's an original play performance that we're going to be doing at the Michigan Theater for Juneteenth. For Juneteenth also, we're going to be running the sound down the street. So we're looking forward to that. The Michigan Theater is. And we picked up a sponsor for parts of that too. And we're looking forward to that. Good. We have, in the fall, we're having, in the summer, we're still going to do outdoor movies. We have 3 outdoor movies. We have 4 outdoor concerts. We have every Food Truck Tuesday, we supply the entertainment and the sound system.
And sometimes it's you.
Yep, sometimes it is me. But those days are really becoming numbered, which is fine. I mean, I'm okay with it. I am performing this weekend with Brian Tucker. I back him up now on bass. And we're at Grand River Brewery from 7 until 9 on Friday and Saturday. So stop in. Brian's I'm impressed with him all the time. And I know he's my son, but
he's amazing. He's,
you know.
Well, he gets it from his dad.
But even if he wasn't related to me, I would think like, oh my gosh, this guy is really good. I would.
He is really good.
Yeah, you try to be as objective as you can about your own children, but it's hard.
No, he's really good.
Yeah.
No.
And Stephen, of course, is like, he's tearing it up. We're meeting today. Last week I had this idea to do a podcast, and then I got an email yesterday from the library because I thought, well, maybe it's corny to do a podcast, and then the library's doing one. So
we have a podcast here.
Well, right, but you would be more apt to have a podcast than a nonprofit, So I thought, like, well, last week Steve and I were talking about it, and he's like, Dad, why don't we have a 30-minute podcast once a week?
Why don't you do a murder podcast? Murder at the Theater.
Good idea, Bart. Well, what we were going to do is we were going to have a podcast that talks about movies and concerts and music, and not just what is always happening at the Michigan Theater, but that would be the primary source of what we do. And Brian did a podcast for about 8 years out of Ann Arbor, and he was a DJ at the U of M station. So I thought, Brian, this is something right up your alley. Why don't you do this in addition to what you're doing with memberships and stuff? So we're trying to do something different, and we want to get it going, breathe some new life. And Dave Hines was in today with some engineers, and they're looking over our air exchange systems, and we're writing a grant for one now, and so we're not stagnant by any means, literally or figuratively, and we continue to move.
Some big concerts. The Judd.
Yeah, and then, that was really a weird thing. Poor Winona was there, and I had heard they were going the next day. Her husband, who plays drums in the band, very talkative fellow, nice fella, he said they were going down for the installation into the Hall of Fame. Now, I don't know if it was the other one that came before that, but then the other one came, and she died the night before.
Amazing. Yeah, it was a horrible tragedy.
Yeah. But that life is that's a hard life. People think that it's all glory and wonder and money and fun, but it's a hard life. It's a tough life being an entertainer. It's sort of like a circus, being in the circus. You're great, and you look up at the lights. But then I remember as a child watching the girl up on the rope and the trapeze, and I felt like, oh, the most glorious thing. And then when she came down, and I looked at her, and she had like a big old tear in her fishnet holes. It was like, oh, that's reality. It was always kind of weird for me that the reality's different. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like you get all these people that are coming in, they're real famous, and they've been on the road, and sometimes you're mildly disappointed in how they smell. You're like, oh.
I know. I have.
It's a circus life.
I've been backstage at some of those things.
And like the dude that you had on here that did the escape thing. Here's a guy he was probably my age at the time. I'm 68. The guy, remember the Mario Mancini? He did the escape on your show.
Yeah, remember the guy we had?
The guy was like my age, and he was still traveling around with like these old nasty trunks, and I'm going like, oh, dude, I'm sorry, you're still in the circus. So it's not an easy life.
No, it's not.
So as glorious as Winona and her mom's life seemed, I'm sure it was really hard.
Yeah.
Really hard. It's really.
The movies, the Winter Film Series, the member movies. I know summer's not a big movie time, but
summer's good for kids, though.
Yeah.
We want to really push the kids this year, so we're thinking about ways to get everything out to the elementary schools. It's $1, and you come in, and if a parent's, and we give away bikes, and we're going to give away a couple other. We're giving away about 4 things this year because we have more movies. We have an additional sponsor, so we're going to give away 4 things, and I don't really want to give away like an iPad or anything. Most kids have it, and it's just another thing to do that with. Mm-hmm. I like the bicycle thing.
Yeah.
So I think we're probably going to give away 4 bicycles, and they're free. All you do is, kid comes in, they go to the movies, they pay $1 to get in.
It was $1 the first. I was the MC at the very first kids summer movie series event, some 20 years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yep. And we, at the intermission, we pulled names and gave prizes.
Yeah. Well, Stephen does that every show now. He creates a giant bucket full of stuff, and for a kid to get all that stuff, I know I'm happy when they forget it, because then I get to win it.
How was the Boy Named Tom?
They were really nice kids. They were young kids from the Mennonite tradition, and they were very serious about their music, and they were really nice kids. They were professional.
Are they the real deal? Do they sound good?
They sound wonderful.
Yeah. Did you have a good house?
We had a great house, a little short of sellout, but my gosh, they're really talented. Tony said that he noticed that they did use auto-tune on a few songs, and that just sort of cuts any margin of error out. Like the Gel Caps, we never did. We were live, and
no auto-tune for you.
No, we were live, and which of course wasn't always good. But they were really good musicians, and more than that, they were just nice. They were fun to work with. They really liked their audience, and the audience really liked them. And
you've brought a lot of people downtown to the restaurants and the bars, and that's amazing. Because on a concert night, a big show night, you've got every parking spot is.
And we'd like to do that this summer. On all of our website and stuff. We have all the local restaurants that can be visited while people are down here, and we'd like to continue that during the summer. I think this summer is going to be one of the best summers ever.
Steve might be confusing some of his friends because he's a diehard Detroit Tigers fan, and he's wearing a Boston Red Sox. What's the deal with that?
Well, my daughter-in-law ran in the Boston Marathon, so Michael's wife. So I went to watch her, and I went to a Boston game. the most unbelievably mouthy fans in the world. I couldn't believe they were cussing at the left fielder.
Mouthy, Boston.
Oh,
yeah.
unbelievable.
They're mouthy.
It was like, you know,
And aren't they awful drivers?
well, I don't know. We were like Ubering everywhere. The Uber guys were kind of crazy, but
Yeah.
so we went to the game. We saw her run the race. She did great. She finished it and didn't get hurt. There were 42,000 runners signed up.
Wow.
35,000 finished, and she was one of them. So,
Nice. And you got a
Here we
you
go.
Got a jersey. What do
yeah,
you
I
call
bought
that?
the coat. It's a coat.
Coat.
We call it a coat here in America.
Awesome. How much was it?
It was probably about 140 or 180. I don't even know.
Well, thanks for coming in. We'll
Thanks
look
for
forward
having
to
me.
another fun summer of entertainment.
Looking forward to it. Wow.
And Steve Tucker. Well, that's it. We're